So you inform the parent how important it is, demonstrate it for them, have them do it. The same way you want them to teach their kids when the kids get a little older. Because now when the kid's 2 years old, tell, show, do. And you add repetition to that for children. That's how people learn. You tell them what you want, you show them what you want, you help them do it. Hand over hand teaching. And then that's the most effective way of teaching somebody something. To teach the parent the skills that you want them to show, but it also gives them the idea of why those skills are important. So that language development is a big one. Helping them soothe a child. Do they know how to soothe a child? They know when a child is crying that you pick up, you rock, you can bounce. Every child is different. My first child with a rocker had to do this. Second child, all I did was cry, got a bouncy ball, did a lot of that. That one worked. Every child's a little different. Got to experiment. As Mark would say, you have to wonder with the parent. What's going to work, what's not going to work. And trial and error. You have a hypothesis, you got to test it out. You make the parent part of the process to figure it out. You're detectives. You have to make the parent a detective as well. You're trying to figure it out. Kids don't come with manuals. Go figure. Design a flaw somewhere. There should have instructions written on their forehead somewhere, but they don't. So you have a young parent who's probably clueless because they're 16, 17, 18, 19, 25. And they may or may not have had good parenting themselves, which is maybe why they're clueless if they're older. How do they learn that stuff? Well, their 17-year-old friends aren't teaching them how to do it. They're not getting it on TV. So how do they learn? Well, hopefully they have some adult who's parented before giving them cues. If not, it's you guys.
It's true. And I think praising them when we see them doing things that are good, because it makes them feel good.
Let me move back a step. How do you get kids to do what you want? You reinforce wanted behavior. You praise. You don't critique. You don't punish. Well, you can punish, but it's not as effective. The same skills that you want the parent to show their kids, the same skills we want to use on the parents, because they're skills that work. So yeah, you're exactly right. You want to reinforce and praise the behaviors that you're seeing them do to encourage more of that. So you're always doing that. If you walked in and said, "Oh, you're doing that all wrong. You're being a lousy parent." No, you know what? You just go over there and watch what I do. That's not going to work. Instead, you make partnership with them. You encourage them. You say, "I like when you did X, Y, and Z because I saw little Johnny do this and respond to you. Great job." And they go, "Oh, okay. I'll do more of that."
Yeah.
That's
but
what
they'll
works.
Explore and do other things.
Yeah. So you're absolutely right. You do praise. You do look for those points where you can give them encouragement. Catch the parent being good. And try to encourage that along. And while you're doing that, you're also guiding them because you're letting them know what you want them to be doing. Will they always do it while you're not there? No. But, it's 27 repetitions before somebody gets to learn something. That's give or take. That's the research. 27 repetitions. So it takes a little while. But eventually they do get it. Unless there's substance involved and or other barriers.
That's the right way to get people to do things. Like talking about praising, I don't know if you're talking about the kids or the parents.
Both.
Well, because
definitely both.
You can threaten people, like when I worked at DHS, and you just said, "Well, if you don't do it, you're gonna."
If you don't do it, they're gonna come out and take your kid.
I know,
and you're gonna lose your kid. Yeah, sure.
To make people do things, but if you build a relationship with them and work over time and praise them, that is how they make changes.
If you have the parent doing the right thing out of fear, or doing it because they're being told to do so, then when they're not being watched, are they going to do it? Yeah, probably not. You want them to do the right thing because it is the right thing, and because they know it's the right thing, and because it works for them. And to be honest, in the long run, it makes parenting a whole lot easier. In my HCT program, when we work with families, of all ages, when we go in there, I mean, we have kids, we work with DHS a lot, so we work with infants as well, all the way up to age 18. We see a lot of infants through DHS. We see a lot of 2.5, 3, 4-year-olds, because we work with Head Start. And so we get a lot of referrals for families that are having struggles. And then we see a lot of 6, 7, 8-year-olds especially. That seems to be the phase when they're really kind of kicking off against the parents. But we don't walk in saying, okay, here's how you do an appropriate timeout. That's not the skill we teach. The first thing we look at is, what's the relationship between parent and child? And that's the first thing we focus on, is improving the relationship. Because that's where it's got to come from. There's behavior management skills, which are certainly useful. But to be honest, most of them don't work unless there's a bond and attachment. And if you try to put the kid in his room because he's being bad and the kid doesn't really want to be with you and rather be in his room, is it really a consequence that's going to make a difference? Probably not. So step one is you want the child to behave in ways to please mom and dad, because the child wants to please mom and dad because they care for each other. And that's really the work. And when you're working with the young kids, you're building the base for that. So where's the relationship between parents and child? Because that's going to help them down the road, and it's going to divert away from a lot of the behavior problems, or at least give us a handle on how to manage them later on, if there is that positive relationship between parent and child. If there is a desire to want to do good for the other. Parents care about their kids. Not that I want my kid to be less pain in the ass. Okay, fine. That's not a good motivation for change. You want the child to want to please mommy and daddy. Even when they're going through their no phase, parents have a way of managing that, and it doesn't last as long, and the parents have a bit of a hook, saying, oh, yeah, I hear what you're saying, but you know what? You still got to do this because mommy wants you to do this. All right. And off they go. That's where you work off is that relationship. You guys all learn about reinforcement and punishment and negative reinforcement and all those kind of things in your schooling. It comes down to the relationship. And you don't have that, then a lot of other stuff is really going to be much less effective.
Is some of that, as far as substance abuse goes, like getting parents to recognize how their
substances impact the relationship, definitely. So think,
was...
how do you think that having a parent with substance abuse issues is going to impact that child's relationship with that parent? What's going to get in the way? You're tip of your tongue right, so I can see it.
Number one, the parent isn't present.
Right. Either physically or cognitively, emotionally.
The attention is not on the child.
Yeah.
Much of the time.
Both during use,
Yeah.
during withdrawal, and during the preoccupation with acquiring the substance.
Mm-hmm.
I can't tell you how many parents have been referred to DHS Child Protective because they brought little Johnny along to cocaine buy. Not the kind of family-son activity you want to have see. Let's go to the neighborhood and let's go cruise for cocaine or marijuana or opiates. Taking your kid on a drug buy is not a good idea. Not exactly quality time. Puts the kid at risk. Risk for safety. And we get quite a number of parents refer to DHS and get custody pulled because of that. And why does the parent do that? An error in judgment. They're not thinking, oh, we're taking little Johnny along on my cocaine buy. It might not be a good idea because, these are not the most stable people in the world and things happen during illegal activities. What they're thinking is, I can't leave Johnny at home alone. Thank God for that kind of thought. And I need my fix. So he's coming with me. Well, okay, that's the problem. So whose needs are being met here? Not Tommy's or Johnny's or Sarah's. It's the parents' needs, and that's what they're focused on. And when you have somebody who is substance involved, that's the kind of thing, that's the kind of errors in thinking you're going to get. And so when you're working with families that have substance issues, keep a look at to where the priority is and whose needs are being addressed or whose needs are foremost to being addressed. And that's going to give you a cue as to where you might want to start doing some discussion with the parent around their parenting and what their expectations are and what their beliefs are around parenting.